This is Before It Was Headlines, It Was Prophecy, with your host, Katie Elizabeth. Pardon my allergies, the season's just about to pass, but I'm still struggling just a little bit. I want to talk today, with so many storms, especially through the Midwest. Of course, we're moving into now the hurricane season. But with so many intense storms that we've had here in the Midwest recently, I really believe we're at a crossroads of understanding. And this pertains to the rider on the white horse. Either our Creator has removed his protection, he's not pleased, he's trying to get our attention, or these storms have been induced by the hand of man, and more conquering help is on the way, or all of the above. Communities that are hard hit by storms and crisis end up with a certain level of controlled care, which usually amounts to curfews and the range of martial law can be very minimal to quite intense, but we're seeing this happen, and it is, of course, again, control for our own good. It's this crown and conquering that we can see very clearly, especially at the stage of any at the point of any crisis. And as I've sought and prayed about this rider on the red horse, because that was the very first time I became very aware of, the release of these and the revelation, the illumination that Yud-Heh-Vah-Heh will impart and show us was this rider on the red horse when the global war on terror was announced. But as I've sought this further, it says the removal of peace. And that doesn't pertain just to war. As a matter of fact, in 1 Corinthians, we're told that Yud-Heh-Vah-Heh is not the author of confusion, but of peace, which to me signifies confusion is more of an opposite of peace than war actually is. But it's the removal of the absence of peace is not just war. It's a state of fear, confusion, anxiety, and apprehension. Between political divisiveness, religious conflict, storms, food supply, etc., there is the absence of peace on almost every hand. Almost every aspect of our lives now are just encompassed and enveloped in a loss of peace. The fact that the cost of wheat is specifically referred to in regard to the rider on the black horse has become even particularly alarming this last week in the discovery of the unapproved GMO crop, or at least some wheat growing in an Oregon field. And this is already it is affecting our exports. Japan has said they won't import our wheat. And it was, with that one case of the BSE with the calf, the mad cow disease, years ago, it was years before Japan would buy our beef again. And so now we have the wheat situation, and a lot of countries are already coming alongside Japan's decision. And in just one generation, we've really forgotten that because of America's grain production, we were literally called the breadbasket of the world. And now with our wheat nearly being globally quarantined, for lack of a better term, or maybe that's exactly the term, we're not really realizing in this, as this rider on the black horse is going across the earth, that refers to the economics. And we've forgotten now that our economy, our collateral in the global credit line, if you will, was our food supply. We can feed a lot of the world. And if we cut that off from if we deteriorate that collateral, our debt could come due. and certainly change our credit rating once again. Now, famines and plagues will be hand in hand. We know that because that's mentioned with the rider on the power horse. But as the chemical poisons are causing mutation we're now making superbugs and super weeds, and our kosher food supply will continue to dwindle. And, you know, I'm talking from a biblical perspective, but I am also, you know, the list in Leviticus. But we need to also realize that our bodies were created to process just a certain way and certain nutrition. Very much like, you know, you can't run an electrical, you know, an electronic computer or whatever. You can't run that on propane. Well, the same way with our bodies, we were created to operate and be nourished and run on certain nutrition, and our bodies need that. And to replace that with other chemicals or artificial means it literally goes against what how our bodies were made to function. So not only will you have bodies that consume things that were not meant to be food, so you're not getting the nutrition, that's a famine in maybe a disguised manner, but it's still a famine. If your body's not getting what it needs, it's famine. But by that same token, what's being introduced can very likely also contribute to the plagues or the fact that our immune systems will be so depleted and diminished. And now that we are looking virtually at a free pass on not labeling GMOs, and it may seem coincidental, but the fact that this free pass has come around about the same time as, have you noticed everything is practically everything is now bacon flavored? Have you noticed? Someone even talked to me about bacon flavored ice cream. I thought, well, I say get ready for the unveiling of what is called the enviro-pig. And that is the fulfillment of Isaiah 66:17. I encourage you to look that up. I've written articles on this, and I'm just shocked that it is so clearly and blatantly the potential. But the enviro-pig is a genetically modified swine that has mouse DNA. So I would encourage you to check that out, because I think that's what we're going to be looking at next. You know, we're already just about to the point. What is sold for food does not nourish the body. And in many cases, the body can't even process it. So on top of not nourishing it, it's literally taking energy from our bodies to break it down to accomplish absolutely nothing, except store it either in our liver or our fat cells. And that results in both famine and plague. And in light of all of this bad news, because we people tend to just keep wanting to do more and more in our own way, we still have the promise of the Prince of Peace, who will be coming back on a white horse, who will put an end to the fear and the wars and the confusion, who is the bread of life and living water, who has all of the riches of the kingdom of God, and calls us joint heirs, and who has literally brought healing. By his stripes we're healed. The solution to the results of each one of these riders being loosed will be, and already is available to his believers. To the children of Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, we have the promise that he will take care of us through all of this. But we have to lean solely on him. And that gets really interesting in societies that mixed a little of this and a little of that. So, Chem, read. I encourage you to read Isaiah 66:17. It's really a mind boggler when you compare it to the enviro-pig. Check out the fact that 1 Corinthians tells us God is not the author of confusion, but of peace.